Chairman Black, let me ask you first, do we get a government shutdown this weekend?
No, I don't believe we're going to go to a government shutdown. We're going to fund the government and keep the government running. I anticipate that we will have the votes for that today in the House of Representatives.
Well, Chuck Schumer is speaking right now on the floor, and he's saying that a long-term deal is being threatened really by the Freedom Caucus because of domestic spending priorities. Which of those spending priorities are the sticking points for you?
Well, I think that the major thing is that we need to fund our military. Our military was hit unequally in the sequester. We've been able to fulfill our obligation to fund the military so they can do the kinds of things that we ask them to do in very dangerous situations around this country. And so I think we need to keep our eye on the ball, especially with North Korea and China and some of the other places around our world that are so dangerous for our men and women that serve our country. We need to make sure that they have the tools that they need to fight the battle in the offshore and to be able to come back home healthy. And so that's going to be our major thrust and our major focus here in continuing to fund the government.
Right. So does that mean that you'll continue to fund the government for a few more weeks in order to secure that extra Pentagon money? And what will you give Democrats for that?
Well, those negotiations are taking place with the leaders, and we have not heard exactly what they're negotiating, but I think we've got to keep our eye on the ball right now to fund it for another 2 weeks until they can hammer out the differences there.
Would you be okay with Lamar Alexander, for example, being, the negotiating tool, or DACA?
Well, I don't know that we have enough time to really iron out the kinds of things we need to iron out in DACA. We know that this is our responsibility here in Congress, but I think we need to take the time to have the hearings, to make sure it goes through regular order in the committees, and that has not been done yet. So I'm not sure that that's really appropriate at this point in time to actually put that on a spending measure. I think that is something we need to do. I'm going to acknowledge that. But I want to make sure when we do that we do it very thoughtfully and that we have all the information that we need.
Well, everything, I'm sure, thoughtfully. Now, the president has said that he's fine with the government shutting down, that it might even be good for him. So, would it be acceptable to you to have it shut down if Democrats were to stand firm on something like S-chip, for example?
Listen, I have been through a government shutdown previously under the Obama administration. It's not a good thing for the American people. And I think it is our job and it is our role to keep government functioning so that we don't have disruption out in the states because of what we do here in the Congress. And so I am not inclined to say a government shutdown is good for anyone.
All right, let's move to tax. What is the final bill looking like? Are we going to see a 22%, 23% corporate tax rate? What happens with pass-through?
Yeah. I'm on the conference committee, and of course we're discussing that. We have to do something about blending the two bills together, the House and the Senate. Although much of that bill is really has a lot in common, there are some sticking points that we're going to need to iron out.
Well,
and 22% is on the table, although we believe that getting the economy jolted is really going to help everyone's pocketbook.